So Galio is one of the best mid laners in the game right now, and he is criminally forgotten even in that role. But his kit also lends itself beautifully to being in the support role. He's another engaged support and just one of those champions that isn't the most popular pick, but is extremely successful when he is played. So what really makes him a good support? He has great engage, good CC, and can affect multiple champions, has a great poke tool as an engaged support, and is a high impact ultimate. But there are some downsides. His best engage with his ult actually needs to be a follow-up to another engage. He can't disengage, especially with his E, because it moves backwards and he can hit champions as he goes forward again. And without his ultimate, has a pretty short range engage compared to other champions. Now, Galio isn't that popular of a champion, so I wouldn't really hold it against you if you didn't actually know what he does. His passive is double fisting. Fairly often, Galio will double fist the enemy, dealing bonus damage and dealing AoE damage as well. His Q is... his W is Tornado Wings. This will throw 2 tornadoes in arcs towards the enemy, then it will collide and deal damage, stay there for a little bit, and deal some dot damage while it's still there. His W is the Circle Taunt. Galio will charge this up, gain magic DR while he's in his Goku charging stance, and when he releases, he'll taunt everyone in that Goku area. Galio also ain't no fool, so he also gains that DR after unleashing his sick burns. And even after that, he's still laying 5D checks, because he knows that this will put a target on his back, and he has passive magic damage shield when he's out of combat. His E is the One Punch Man. Galio will step back, dash, and punch the enemy. This will knock him up, deal damage, and, well, I guess that's really it. His ult is the Big Boy Jump and Bump. Galio can only cast this ability on an ally, but there's this giant zone that comes down. He jumps into the air, gives the ally a magic shield, then slams down to the ground, knocking out any enemy in that area and dealing damage. And when you think about it, all these abilities are fantastic for a support. You have CC, engage, damage, shielding, poke, and your rooms help more with that as well. Now, as we're going to be a support, we're going to go Aftershock for some extra tankiness, Shield Bash because that magic shield counts, Bone Plating or Conditioning, they both work, and Overgrowth for more HP. Secondary tree, we take Hex Flash for even more surprising engages, and Biscuit so we can stay healthy. You don't actually have to take Hex Flash, you can do anything else, but you do you. His items also don't change that much from other tanky supports. Even Shroud for damage on the enemy, although that's going to be going away soon, but really, you just want tankiness. You can go Demonic for some extra damage, but you might not even need that. So Galio isn't really a mechanically intensive champion, so we did it! We're in the game, and we're going to take this shield and these mixed drinks, because Gargoyle's got a drink too. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe. If you're liking the video, give it a thumbs up so other people can see it too, and comment down below with anything that I missed. Now, in lane, we have the option to start with our Q just so we can get some pokes in. It does prevent the best all-in engages at level 2 because we want to have E and W for that, but if you know the enemy's just going to long-distance farm, if it has like an Ezreal in his area, then just do Q, because it's the only ability that's really going to do anything. If you do start Q, just do E second, because then you can still engage and you have the poke damage. And like I said before, having this poke tool as engaged support gives you a bit of a peg up, because when you aren't actually doing anything, you can at least throw out these abilities and have the enemy have less life when you engage on them. And if you do see the opportunity to get a kill, then just go for it. You cannot E flash on the enemy. You have to flash E on the enemy, so just keep that in mind if you're going to go for an even longer range engage. But even if you flash, you have Hex Flash anyway. And Galio's kind of a weird champion. Once you get your ult, you don't actually get a big boost in terms of your laning, because you have to cast this on your enemy ADC, and most of the time they're going to be behind you, and so it's not really going to do much. I mean, it's going to do a little bit more if they have like a Samira or a Nyla that's going to kind of go in and jump on your ADC, but otherwise it's just kind of a protection tool. But your ult is actually a really good tool for roaming up mid, because you don't have to get too far up the river to actually use it, and you can easily shut down and engage from the enemy mid laner and kind of get a kill for yourself if you do see an opportunity for it. But other than that, we just want to keep the river warded for ganks, poke the enemy, and then engage when they get close or when they're pretty low. Those are the keys to victory. Just get kills, push lanes, get plates, get towers. Now let's take a look at that mid game. In the mid game, you want to keep the rift warded, obviously because you're a support, but you also don't want to be by yourself just because you can be caught out so easily. If people are grouping for fights, then you can always walk away a little bit if you have your ult up, because you always have the opportunity to come back and actually still just have that high impact ult that you already have. But really, when you're in those fights, you want to try and peel for your ADC. But if you do already have like a primary engage champion, you can follow up with them and just kind of get a wombo. So if you like Ornn ult and then you Galio ult, it's going to be crazy. But really, when you're starting off these team fights, you want to play around your ult as much as possible, because it makes a huge zone for the enemy while it's cast, and it can really turn a team fight. It would just make it go one of two ways. You can counter the enemy engage, and they have to either stay in that and all get knocked up, or they have to back away out of that and kind of spread out their whole team. Then when you're just in the fight, you just want to E, Q, W as much as possible, and then once it comes back up, do it again, because you're tanky and you'll have the opportunity to cast these abilities again. Now, if you don't have your ultimate, just try and stay with your team so you don't get caught out. If you do have your ult and and you find yourself getting caught out, then you do have the opportunity to just ult to an ally so you can kind of get out of a tough situation. It's not the most ideal way to escape, but it's something that you can use as a last resort. But you really want to hold it for those team fights. Just be there for objectives, push lanes, get towers, and we did it! We won the game. And if you enjoyed this video, check out the biggest tree boy in all of League. Talk to you later!